Hey, what's up y'all? So we're back. So this is going to be a continuation from the last video on how you can make a date table. So I'm going to show you how to make this one from scratch. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do when we get to Power BI is we're going to click on Table View. And then we're going to go all over here on the bar and navigate to New Table. Alright, so once we're here, we can call this table really whatever we want. So I'm just going to put Date Table 2 because I already have a date table. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the next line. So I'm going to talk about variable expressions. So variable expressions are going to be how we're going to utilize our date table and employ them. Because what it does is if you ever want to utilize this expression again, you can, or if it's used more than once within this expression that we're making, it's going to be helpful. Now, that probably doesn't make too much sense. I'll just show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we're just going to type in var right here as variable, and this is just going to really save a entire expression within a common naming convention that we want to utilize. So we're going to put var start date equals date year today. We're going to close that up. Now we're going to put exactly how many years we want to go backwards, right? So when does our date table really start? Now you can have a date table set up to where it's reading off a entire start date, end date within a data set that you have imported in, or you can just create and manufacture one from scratch that kind of may host all of those date tables together, and all those dates are going to reside within this entire date table structure. So for this one, I'm just going to put 10. So it's going backwards 10 years, which is why I put the minus sign. We're going to say 1 for month because we want to start on the first month, and then we want to start on the first day as well. I'm going to close that up, and this is just going to be a comment for me. And you could always put a double dash here in Power BI just so you can identify, hey, if these are comments, right? So I'm going to say goes back 10 years. And that's just an indicator in case anybody ever reads this, then they could see, hey, this is exactly what this code means. Now, from the beginning, right, we have variable expression. So variable expression is going to be start date. So that's the name that we're going to utilize for this exact DAX expression that we have written here. The date for the start date is going to be 10 years back, January 1st, right? So years is going to be minus 10, and then today, so it's going to go up to today. Now, next one we're going to do is var again, because we want to put an end date, right? So do we want to put a projected end date and not just end today? So if we're doing predictive analysis, we want to have a future date. So we're just going to go 10 years in advance for this one as well. So we'll put end date equals, and it's going to be same exact concept, year today. We're going to close that up. We're going to put plus 10, then projects 10 years. So that's going to be really it when we declare our expressions with these variables so that we can utilize them again if needed. And then to end your variable expression kind of statement, we want to end with return. So that's basically telling Power BI, hey, we're done with writing our expressions. Then we're going to shift enter, go to the next line, and we're going to type in calendar now. And we want to put a start date and end date. And then since we already declared our expressions, we don't have to write them again. So this is the benefit of having variable expression that we utilize, right? So we're just going to put start date and then end date. And then once we're done with that, we can really press enter and then kind of see what happens. All right, so it's going to take some time, but it's going to go back 10 years based upon the start date and then based upon the end date as well. So we can see it went back 10 years. So January 1st, 2014, so 2024 right now. And then if we go down all the way to the end, we're going to have January 1st, 2034. All right, but we don't want to stop here, right? Because what if we want to use not just the dates, we want to use the days, we're going to do the months, and then maybe separate the years as well, right? So all that's not really in this table right now. So that's where we really want to add columns, because now we can further identify different components within each date. All right, so in order to do that, what we're going to do is delete this entire calendar statement. We're going to do add columns, because now what we're going to do is we're going to have more columns added to the right of this date column. Now we're going to put calendar back in there. We're going to put start date. We're going to do end date again. We're going to go to the next line. And then now this is where we can insert exactly what we want to see, right? So let's just do year. We're going to do month, and then we're going to do day as well. And then kind of go from there. All right, so what we're going to do is put year. So this is going to be a column name. We're going to do year here, and then we're going to do date. Next one we're going to do is month, format, date. That's going to be the month, so it's going to be the long name of the month, and then we're going to close that up. Next, we're going to do day, date. All right, so once we have all that put in, we're just press enter. All right, so now we can see the split, right? So we can see the year, month, and day. And we can also put in columns such as weekday, so exactly what day of the week it is or was, and then if it's a weekend or not, so yes or no. And then if you're like me and you're going to use a month-year format as well, you can also incorporate that. Now, let's just break this down really quick, right? So when we're inserting columns that we want to add in, right? So we're living within this parentheses, so we're writing within this DAX expression right now. We're going to put the column header first for year. Then we're going to put the year format. So it's going to recognize that it's an actual year. So that's an actual DAX expression. We want to extract the year out of this date column. Now for this next one, we have the month is going to be the column header. Then we have format and then date. So we use format because we want to explicitly say, hey, return the month format within this exact long name type. So we have the month actually spelled out here, right? But let's just say we didn't want to do that, okay? And we're just gonna remove this. We're gonna put month, right? And we're gonna see what happens. All right, so now it's gonna return me the actual value of where that is in the calendar year. We don't want to see that. It's kind of hard to read as well, right? As an end user, you know, you're looking at month value. You're probably already looking at so many other values. So you want to see something that's easy to read. So which is why we put format and then we put month as well. And then if you want a short name month as well, you can put just 3 M's. And then if you want to revert back to what it was, you can put the 4. And then lastly, the next one's going to be pretty straightforward as well. So that's going to be day and then exactly the day it's returning based upon the actual date format. And the last thing I want to talk about is when you insert a date value within a table or you have it front facing somewhere within Power BI, you probably don't want this entire format. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go on column tools, and then we're just going to change the format type. So there's so many different format types, right? The one I personally use is going to be this day, month, year format, just because it's clean, it's easy, and I don't see the times. I really don't need the times as well because it's a manufactured date table that has no relevancy when it comes to time. Now, if your date table does have some time incorporated in it, or your data points or dimension tables do have time, that's a different case. But for this one, I don't really need the time. All right, and then the last thing you want to do with all of this is going to be connect your date table to your dimension table so that you have relationships, right? Whether it's an active relationship or an inactive one and you're utilizing a used relationship, it doesn't matter. As long as it's connected, that's what matters so that you can employ it on the front end. All right, so for the last thing, you could also write this DAX expression for your date table without a variable expression. It's just useful in case you want to use it more than once. So as you saw, as I was typing in start date or end date, it popped up automatically because that's now saved within Power BI. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you on what you want to do. To me, it kind of makes sense because if I want to utilize that again, I'm going to, and I don't have to write that code all over again. So it's like a saved formula, if you will. But with that said, hopefully this date table video helps you. Leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.